and welcome to the channel. So today I thought it would be good, with everything going on and everybody worried about the virus, to talk about what about your instruments, your musical instruments. You know, you play them, you handle a lot, and being outside and dealing with people, if you play around people at all, chances are somebody's going to cough and you're going to have to worry about cleaning the thing. So what should you do? What can you use? What's safe? What will strip the finish? And I've done a bit of research, and here is what I've found, and I want to share with you. If you're going to clean your instrument and keep it safe, what you want to use is actually naphtha. Now, some of you may have heard of it, some of you may not. Essentially, you can find it at stores. It's often called camp fluid or camp fuel. Or some lighter fluids are naphtha as well. Some are butane, so you have to read the label. You may have some lighter fluid at home you could use, but just make sure it is naphtha. First, before you actually clean the instrument, what you want to do is you want to dab some on a cotton swab here, and on a very remote, out of the way spot on your instrument, you want to dab a little bit of the naphtha onto the Q-tip and rub just a little bit, because you want to make sure that it will not react with your finish. Naphtha works well with most finishes, polyvinyl finishes, nitrocellulose it works well with too, but there are some shellac and maybe varnish that it will react with and cause some clouding of the finish, and you want to check that beforehand. So just dab some on a Q-tip and test just a tiny out of the way area. I would recommend back here, right on the bottom back, because that's one of the spots few people look at. So once you test it, rub some on, wait a minute or two to see if it's going to do anything to the finish, or look on the Q-tip and see if anything comes off. If you see just a little dark crud, I guess, on the Q-tip, that's okay. It does clean all the dirt and stuff off your guitar too. But if you see something the color of the finish or jet black, then you may want to stay away from naphtha, because it could be reacting with the finish. But for most guitars, naphtha is going to work. Again, that's just camp fluid you can find at most stores. So if you've done the Q-tip test and nothing comes off on the Q-tip, or the finish doesn't haze over at all or bubble or anything, or just a little bit of dark on the Q-tip comes off, then you know that naphtha is good to go, is safe to use. So what you want to do if you're going to use the naphtha to disinfect and clean your instrument is put some on a rag here. Make sure it's a soft rag. So just take an old rag that is soft and make sure it is clean. If you're going to be cleaning and disinfecting your guitar, make sure your rag that you're actually going to be cleaning with is clean to begin with. Once you got your clean rag, put a bit of the naphtha onto the rag itself and wipe your guitar down with it. So the naphtha, because it is kind of like gasoline, butane, kerosene, in that kind of same family from crude oil, it does evaporate very fast, so you don't have to worry about wiping it back off, and you don't have to worry about any residing smells or anything. It will just strip everything down, strip all the oil and grease off of your guitar, and then leave. So again, just put a bit on the rag and wipe the instrument down. And once it's all wiped down, you can brush everything off just to make it all shine up nice and pretty like a new penny. When you're cleaning your instrument, you will also want to take off the strings and toss them away. If you're worried about any germs or anything on your instrument, the strings are where they're going to sit, especially because that's where your fingertips play. You want to take off all the strings on your instrument and throw them away before you start, because some string companies have clear coats on the strings itself, and using a cleaning fluid like naphtha or dish soap and water, those can interact with the clear coat on the strings themselves and strip it away and kill the strings. So unfortunately there's no way to save them. Plus too, if you're worried about germs on the instrument, you're going to be worried about germs on the strings themselves, so it's just better to be safe than sorry. Just take the strings off and chuck them all. You'll need a new set from the factory. They come vacuum sealed, so they are safe and clean. But what do you do if camp fluid or naphtha doesn't work? If it's going to react and the test isn't going well? If the naphtha doesn't work to strip the oil away, what I would recommend is getting some distilled water and some dish soap and mix just 2 or 3 drops of dish soap into a bowl of distilled water. Distilled because you want to make sure there's no chemicals or compounds or rust or anything in the water, especially if you have well water. Just mix a couple drops into the dish soap, or a couple drops of dish soap into the water, and then take a clean rag here. You want a soft one. Old t-shirts work well for this because they are soft. Since they're old, they're worn in. Just make sure it's really thoroughly washed and completely clean and dry. Then just dip the rag into the water. Make sure it's all mixed up, make sure all the soap is mixed up, and then just gently wipe on the surface. Just wipe that solution onto the guitar. Just go around, wipe it a couple times, about the same amount of time that you'd wash your hands. You want to wash the guitar with that. And then after that, have another bowl of distilled water, no soap in it, and get a second rag for that. Wet that rag and just wash it all off. And then just dry off the guitar and it should be good. You should have cleaned off all of the virus or any germs or anything on it, and it should be good. Plus you'll also strip some of the dirt and grime that accumulates over the years. So if you're worried about your guitar getting dirty or getting sick or transferring illnesses on, that is what I would recommend. Start with naphtha, test it out. If that doesn't work, go to some dish soap and water and try that, and that should work. Just remember, if you do have to use dish soap, don't leave the water on the instrument too long. It's not the best for it. But anyway, thanks so much for watching. I hope that was helpful, and stay safe with everything going on.